Hello, everybody. This is the Fight Card Podcast. I am your host, sPidA. Today, we're actually here on the south side of San Antonio, and my guest today is Ernest Arguello. Ernest, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good, bro. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I want to thank you, first of all, for giving me a few minutes of your time. We are here at your establishment. We just spoke a little bit earlier, and you've been moving around quite a bit, man. But, they're calling this location home. What is the physical address to this spot?
This physical address is going to be 5521 South Flores, 78214.
Yes, sir. Now, yourself, man, you've been teaching here on the south side for years already. Earlier we talked about you starting off and like many of us, having our garage, jiu-jitsu classes and teaching, man. That was, back looking at it back then, doing that, did you already know that you wanted to have your own business?
Man, actually, to be honest, man, it just fell that way, man. Honestly, I think that God just blessed me that way, and it just happened and rolled like that. I started in the back of my house, did that for like 2 to 3 years from a white to blue belt, and just started teaching people around, just like close friends. And then, as I kept training and teaching at the same time, man, it just fell in place. At the same time, I was working for San Antonio Water System at the same time. So, honestly, it just fell that way, man. And I'm just blessed to do what I do today, man, honestly.
No, for sure. And it's definitely a beautiful opportunity because not everybody gets to do what they love, man. Some of us are stuck at 9 to 5 and, dreading having to go to work and whatnot, dude. But this is yours. This is your gym.
Yeah.
Yes, as of right now, there's other, what kind of forms do you guys teach here? What kind of martial arts classes?
So, man, we teach like the boxing, a little bit of the kickboxing, a lot of jiu-jitsu, man, honestly, a lot of gi jiu-jitsu, a lot of no-gi jiu-jitsu, some wrestling and stuff like that. But, that's pretty much it. And, a lot of try to mix it up like the MMA, man, pretty much I love that part, I love just mixing it all up together and just having fun with it, man. And, just giving the opportunity for anybody that wants to come in and just want to learn something, that's one of the biggest things, seeing somebody coming in new and just, they don't know anything about jiu-jitsu or striking or the boxing, and just giving that part it's the best thing.
No, definitely. I guess the smart thing would be not to beat them up and scare them away,
Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of people come from especially the neighborhood that we're from, especially everybody's like, oh, Southside, and thinking they're going to come in here and get beat up like that, and no, man, it's all about just giving back, and making sure, showing them what this beautiful art is about, man, definitely.
Yes, sir. And just the other day, man, and I want to thank you for allowing me the other day to stop by and take some photos and do some video, man. During the class, you had a large kids class, man, and for me personally, that's I started when I was 24, 25, man, so I started late. You got these kids coming in now, rolling, dude. If I were to come back into training, I don't even think I'd roll with these kids, man. They're pretty good, man. But, you see that now yourself, and you're thinking, man, what if you would have started when you were 5, 7, doing
definitely,
this? Man. And earlier, man, also I had asked you, bro, now you are prior military.
Yes, I'm a former U.S. Marine. I served from 98 to 2002. So, yeah, man, I love my military background. I love the military. Man, that's why America's so strong right now.
No, for sure, man. There's, you got to be proud of, our country, man. This is, the U.S. of A. So, the fact that you served, man, thank you for your service while we're at it, bro. And I had asked also, man, when you started training, it was during the military?
Yes, I started training in the military. We did a lot of hand-to-hand combat, combatives, and then we got into the boxing type stuff, back then. Really, it wasn't no grappling yet. It was more of a lot of the boxing and then just combatives with hand-to-hand weapons and stuff like that. So started learning that from there, and then from there, man, when I got out of the Marine Corps, it was pretty hard, man, for just to keep an everyday job because it just changes a lot. Your life changes from being in the military and then out of the military.
No, I can imagine, man. You're gone for years, and then you come back, and it's just okay, you got to start over, man, or you got to start off where you left off. Now, when you ended up getting out of the military, did you automatically start training at a gym?
No, I actually came home, and then I had to find my way, man. Honestly, just transitioning from the military, lifestyle, and then back into the civilian world. And just figuring out who I was again, because, there you're somebody, and then when you come out, and then, so, yeah, man, it just took me some time. I think took about a year off, and then I ended up finding, I ended up finding a place which was Jamie Miller at that time. He was running Texas Powerhouse. My wife ended up finding him in the internet, and then that from there, man, I fell in love with it, man. I loved it. I loved just training with Jamie and just going in there and just that grind at that moment. I needed that part in my life again. Just trying to hustle for something, and just putting in the hard work. So ever since then, man, I loved it, man.
No, and that was one of my other questions. I mean, you did start with Jamie Miller, and I mean, it's been, how many years have you been training with the guy?
Man, I think it's been over 12 years, 13 years, man. I've been with him. Man, he's one of my best friends, honestly, and just one of my great instructors, and just he's a great teacher and guider, man. And honestly, he's helped me out a lot on my way and my journey of what I've been doing, and still got a long way, man. And
still learning.
Yeah, still learning, man. Just because I got a black belt from him, I still want to learn and still progress. And there's a lot of things that I don't know, and so yeah, man. I always look up to him and make sure like whatever I do is I ask for that guidance.
Yes, sir. You see, and you are a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under him.
Yes,
correct?
Yes. I picked up my black belt last year. I think last year in December 8th of 2017.
Nice, man.
Yeah. No, 2018.
Brother.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I know, yeah. I was gonna say
years go by quick, man.
Now I know you guys post a lot on Facebook.
Yes.
And I know he comes here every once in a while,
yes.
teaches. How cool is that, man? I mean, you build a home, and here you are bringing your instructor in to hang out and teach, man. I mean,
oh man, I think I love it, man. Honestly, it gets me back into a state of being a student because
right.
I'm always teaching here. And just giving the opportunity the biggest thing for me is making sure like my students get the best part of just learning the progression part. And as he comes in, man, I want him to see where we got our jiu-jitsu from, definitely. But just not just him. So we have other black belts that do come in that fall under Jamie, Jason Conine, Fernando Rodriguez, Robert Bryce. A lot of these guys do come into the gym, and so they have a variety of different black belts, but coming from Jamie, and just so they can get a different perspective because we all come from a different, we have a different mentality as a black belt, but I think that's one of the biggest things is making sure that my students can find their own identity.
No, yes, sir, and I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because that's one of the things. I mean, you can build somebody up so high, but because people are built certain ways, they have different ways to express their form, their martial art,
yes,
and I've noticed that. I mean, there's a lot of people. I know El Cucuy was here the other day,
yes,
Fernando, man, and like you said, Bryce and everybody else. And when you see these guys teaching, I mean, do you yourself pick up stuff?
Oh man, every time, man. Honestly, I learn something all the time, even if it's just a basic sweep, basic submission. We all have a different way. And I'm always picking up, man. Honestly, I'm always learning. I know Fernando was here on Monday, so when he was teaching a basic half guard sweep, I learned something different all the time, man. I think that's the best part. If you have that mentality of always learning and not have the mentality, oh yeah, I already know that, you're never gonna learn that way, man. I think that's when it starts getting boring. But for me, man, my passion is always learning, man. No matter if it's coming from a different black belt, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a black belt, man. It can just be somebody in a white belt to blue to purple, brown. I'm always willing to learn from somebody, man.
No, for sure, brother. Now there was earlier, man. You have a UFC poster, man. UFC San Antonio. You actually had some guests here, man. And I'm not gonna hold it against you for not inviting me, bro. But how cool was that, dude? I mean, these guys that are a certain level, they come in here, and I mean, obviously you picked up some cool stuff, some cool yes. pointers. I mean, how do you feel as a business owner knowing like, hey, man, the doors are open for these guys to come in here and roll,
man? It was a blessing, man. Honestly, man, I couldn't believe it. You get a phone call from out of state, and usually, to be honest, when I get those phone calls, I kind of just let it go towards my voicemail, and then I get a voicemail and Leon Edwards. It's Leon Edwards' manager, and I'm like, man, okay, it's just so surreal, right? And man, it's not any different, man, than what we're doing here, man. Honestly, I got a big old. I was able to pick his coach's minds and stuff like that, and just get a different look. And man, I really believe that there's nothing that we're doing different than what they're doing. I think honestly, man, I learned so much, and just seeing that it's all about the individual, how hungry they are. Like, what is their passion for it? Is they really wanting to be the elite champion, you know? As far as coaches, like, my inspiration to be the best coach, you know? Not just the best coach, but just try to give my perspective of what I see, and, you know, how I see a fighter, and, you know, and that person, just that fighter or that, you know, world champion, and just wanting to be the best, man. Seeing Leon doing his thing, and, you know, and seeing Dan Hooker doing their motivation of them wanting to be the best, it's inspiring, you know. I think, man, for them to have that type of mentality is a blessing, to have somebody like that, you know what I mean? Yeah,
no, that for sure, man. I mean, doing all that, I mean, they were here for a couple of weeks, man.
Yes, yeah, they were here for 2 weeks. A lot of my students were really, you know, they couldn't believe it, you know?
I know, yeah.
You think they'll be going to a bigger school, you know, but hey, man, it was a humbling experience, and then just seeing that these guys are just normal, just like you and I, man, every day, and you know, and the only thing, man, these guys, their mentality and their mindset is very strong.
No, for sure, man. And the cool thing about it, man, and everybody keeps saying, you know, catch these fighters before they go pro, because you never know.
Yes.
I mean, the whole time you got this guy at the gym and nobody knows him, nobody pays him any mind, but before you know it, it's like, dude, he's out there in the UFC fighting for the title, right? And just the other day, somebody I posted on Facebook, and just myself, I mean, I've been around so many cool people, man. I think it was the UFC Expo in Houston, man, and I get there, and I run into Dwayne Ludwig, I run into Vitor Belfort, I mean, all these guys, and everybody's like starstruck, and me being myself, I was just like, hey, man, how's it going? You know, just taking people's hands, taking photos, and the thing with Vitor Belfort, man, he's there, and he's eating a sandwich, bro, and I'm like, hey, bro, you know, how's it going? And I was like, you know, I wanted to take a photo, and he was like, oh, yeah, you know, and we take a picture, and I'm talking to him, and I'm looking past him, and I realize there's a big old line behind him, dude. And people are looking at me like, what the world, you know? But I was like, man, I mean, it's cool, man. You know, it's just like being a kid at a candy store, man. You get to see all these, you know, top fighters, top, you know, prospects. I think during that time, I mean, I was hanging out with Ben Askren, dude. Like, nobody knew him. You know, he was fighting in Bellator, and that time people weren't really, you know. But I mean, it's cool, man. I mean, like you said, you know, it's kind of. For me, myself, you know, being here, hanging out with you guys, going to the fights, and being cage side, man. I mean, people are like, oh, you get to do all this cool stuff, and I do. You know, I'm a big fan. I mean, not to go off the rail, you know, but I mean, I've hung out with like Steven Quadros, I've hung out with like Wanderlei Silva, Randy Couture in Austin, dude, and this is just like, hey, we're eating, and hey, man, what's up? You know, like just like we're hanging out, like we're friends from years, man, and I mean, so I can relate to that, man, because like you said, you know, it happens, and you're like, wow, man. Now, with that being said, man, I mean, events coming out here, man. The doors open for these guys?
Yeah, man, definitely, man. It's been, and I love that we get every opportunity out there, man. Definitely. So we try to get out there as much as we can. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Nah, man. Well, I mean, going back to you, man, and I do thank you for this.
Yes.
Now, with them being here, and I mean, you have an establishment here.
Yes, sir.
Your classes that you teach, you have kids class, you have adult class for gi, no gi. What are your intentions as far as getting bigger, man? I mean, are you looking to open up more classes, more availability?
Honestly, right now we are looking to getting our own property now. We're actually we're trying to get our own building, trying to open up like a 5,000 square feet gym, you know, so. I'm in the background right now trying to just figure out some things, you know, trying to get some things in the works, you know, definitely.
Get everything lined up.
Yeah, man, definitely trying to open up more classes, like you said, man, definitely. Just try to get some more opportunity. But my biggest thing is giving back to the community that I'm from. You know, I grew up in the South Side. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, man, it's South Side, man. But you know what, man, I'm never going to leave the South Side. You know, I was born and raised on the South Side, man, and my biggest thing is just making sure that I'm giving back to my community and not bring it down. I want to bring people up, you know. So, you know, definitely I want to add more kids classes. You know, definitely I want to add more adult classes. Definitely, you know. But my biggest inspiration is just getting people off the street, man.
Yeah.
You know, especially the young kids. You know, I really believe that these young kids need some type of guidance.
Right.
You know, and just understanding, man. Like that's my main purpose is getting these people off the streets. and just making an impact on to where the neighborhood that I'm from.
No, and you've been doing that, man. I mean, obviously, like maybe here in San Antonio, I mean, I've met you years back, and I've known you through the game. But I mean, I know of your gyms. I know of the students coming out of the gyms. I mean, right now you've got a couple of guys that I interviewed the other day fighting on the Fury UFC card.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be here in San Antonio, man. But let's do this. Who are some of the fighters? Who are your pro fighters right now?
So the two that I have right now is going to be David Bam Miramontes. He's a flyweight fighter. I got Fatima Mallet. Also, she's another pro fighter. So yeah, she fights at 115 pounds. So those are the only two pro fighters. I got a lot of amateurs that are coming up. One kid to look out for is going to be Joe Perez. He just made his amateur debut, fought a kid that was 2-2 at the moment. He was 111 pounds, my kid. I fought a kid that was, has like weight advantage on him. But he just turned 18 years old, man. He's one of my up-and-comers. Definitely look out for that
Diamond
kid.
in the rough. Huh?
Yeah, man, definitely. Richard Palacios, he's going to be fighting, like we said, in Fury. Brandon Craig, and then I have another kid named Jeremy Martinez, so he's making his debut also. So, I got some guys in the works, and some other ones that I'm going to be hiding, definitely.
Letting loose come the new year?
Yeah, definitely, and I got a kid named Josh Delgado, and then another kid, Joe's little brother, Ryan. So
okay, sweet, man. Get the whole family involved.
Man. Yeah, definitely, the whole family, brother.
Now, the other day I was here, man, and we were talking about your location, man. I mean, like you said earlier, you do plan on staying on the south side.
Yes.
I mean, I do deliveries all over the city, man, where every time I come to the south side, I go to the west side. I always got to hit up the restaurants, bro. So, I mean, I know earlier you were saying about hitting the gym and staying in shape. I mean, we are getting older.
Yes.
Myself, man, I love to eat, man.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So I got to go out here. And every time I come out here, man, I literally, my kids go to the school on the south side. So, I drop them off at school and I stop by somewhere on the way home, man. But, I mean, with you yourself, I mean, you say you do train full time.
Yes.
What is the schedule for yourself during the week, man? Like, what do you do?
Man, so Monday through Friday, I'm pretty much, I have my time open during the day, man. Honestly, I drop off my kids in the morning, come back home, rest a little bit. So, from like 12 to 2 o'clock, I'm at Ghost Gym, getting a lot of cardio in, definitely trying to stay in shape because these younger kids in here at this gym, there's something else.
You got to stay on top.
Yeah, man, I'm already 40 years old, so. Now I pick up my boys around 4 o'clock, come back home, get some food in a little bit, and then come back to the gym, man. I'm here like around 5 o'clock, and then I won't leave here until like 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening.
So it's a whole day, bro.
Yeah, man, it's a whole day, and then come back home, and then, spend some time with the family, and then redo it again, man. But Saturday and Sundays, I kind of just take it easy, just take my time, enjoy my family, spend some time with the boys, and then Sunday, go praise the Lord, man. Definitely give the Lord, thank the Lord for blessing me another week, man, and just thanking Him for giving me the opportunity, and being part of people's lives, man.
Yes, sir.
I think that's one of my biggest things is just being a part of these people's lives, man. That's my thing.
No, I mean, we got Him, man. I mean, we're the light, dude. So it's like, I mean, I always tell people I'm second. Always got to put God first, bro.
Yeah, man, definitely. I agree, man, definitely.
And one question I have for you before we wrap this up, man. Okay. Now, when you first started the gym, of course, it was Southside Fight Club.
Yes.
Now, why the name change?
I got a lot of people calling me, man, to be honest, calling the gym and, oh man, is this a fight club? I want to, can I go in there and just fight? And, they're thinking it's
a promoter.
Yeah, man. Just like that show, the movie Fight Club, man. And I'm like, man, no, man, you just got your things mixed up. And that was one of my reasons why I wanted to make sure, I wanted to make it feel like for, especially for families bringing in their kids, one of the things is making them feel comfortable. And, a lot of people, sometimes people get the name kind of mixed up. And then I obviously end up getting my black belt, man. So I was like, man, might as well,
you're already established. Might as well put your name on it.
Yeah, might as well put my name out there. And, and I prayed on it, man. Honestly, I prayed on it so much. And, I felt like that was one of the right things to do. But we still claim Southside Fight Club, especially when the fighters go out. I definitely claim the Southside Fight Club stuff, you know what I mean? Because everybody knows it by that.
Oh, yeah, especially when, because they are fighting, I guess it kind of, it goes hand in hand, man, hand in hand. Something like that, bro, I mean, obviously, like you said, I mean, it can send the wrong signal. I mean, you want to make this as comfortable for the families, like you said, there's people, parents bringing their kids, and you don't want them to think they're in the back, going bare knuckle, man. Now, there's more I wanted to talk to you about, bro. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay.
I want to thank you, first of all, dude, for giving me a few minutes. And hopefully on a weekly basis, man, we can touch base and talk about what's going on in the world, man. There's a lot going on with promotions, the UFC, the BMF belt, man. Real quick, man, BMF, who's going to take it, bro?
Man, I'm going to have to go with Jorge, man.
Really?
I like him,
man.
That guy's just... I guess, man, because he has that street mentality. I'm not saying maybe it doesn't have it, man. They both have that street, man. But I don't know, man. I just like Jorge's style, man, to be honest.
I get you, man. We'll make a bet, bro. Next time, if Diaz wins, man, I'm going to buy you lunch, bro.
Okay, cool, man. So if I lose, man, I got you.
Yes, sir. And I like to eat, bro, so you better save them Spanish, bro.
We can go anywhere in the hood, man. You're good.
No, but I do want to thank you, man, once again, everybody. We are here at the Arguello BJJ and MMA Academy.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is the Fight Card Podcast. I am sPidA. Until next time, listen up.